Coming up, how long can we go without saying the word toe pick? It's 3 Men and a Rom-Com. We're talking the cutting edge here on Reckoning with Jason Herbert. My name is Jason Herbert. I'm a Southerner who lives in the West. I'm a historian, an outdoorsman, and a movie buff. I like finding new answers to old questions. And this is a Reckoning. Dart, I was just telling Paul, this is my second pod today. And I'm like, yeah, I just had Jelani Cobb on earlier today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, he was cool. Like, I'm sitting there going, I'm talking Jelani Cobb. Just fucking cool because he's a big deal. I mean, not that you guys are not big deals. We're all big deal. The four of us and Jelani are all, but I'm like talking like Reconstruction and like how to like, how do we see Obama through the lens of Lincoln? I'm like, this is good. I want to talk some figure skating today. So, I'm like, I can't wait to get into this. But it was a good pod, and he was a really cool dude. I really liked him and stuff. So I think I'm trying to get him to come back. Have you guys ever seen the movie Next of Kin? Do you know this film?
Yes.
Paul saying no. Do you know this?
No.
Next of Kin is this movie comes out in the late 80s, like 87, 88, somewhere in that range. Patrick Swayze, Liam Neeson, Bill Paxton, right? They're Kentucky hillbillies, so it's my people, right? Who go to war against the Chicago Mafia after the little brother gets killed, and it's just Helen Hunt is in it. Ben Stiller is in that film.
Yeah,
like we need a critical re-engagement.
It is.
With Next of Kin.
Is one of those touchstone rentals from the live era where you would watch you would rent something and then you would watch the trailers and it'd be like 18 trailers and you're like, I want to see that. I want to see that. Avoid that at all costs. But like Next to Kin, I saw because I saw the trailer on another rental.
Yeah, like I remember, I was talking this morning. It's like my people in Kentucky, we don't have a lot. We've got basketball and bourbon and horse racing, but like that's about it. So if we get a movie that's like where we win, that's awesome. Not to ruin it, but like, look, Patrick Swayze is going to show up. So,
I am shocked that I've never, because I feel like I have known the entire Patrick Swayze canon, and this one snuck by me. So I'm gonna.
I feel like you have homework. It's actually good. Like it's it's a fun movie, but it actually has a lot to say about like immigration and stuff like that, because there's all these ideas like Sicilians come to America. They're like, we grow rocks for a living. And that was kind of like the, epithet of like these poor Appalachians from Kentucky. It's like they're supposed to be the backwards people, but that's the way Sicilians are treated. You know, I mean, there's some neat class dynamics that are going on. Like, I love it when movies are actually talking about stuff that maybe they don't even like fully embrace
Realize
what
they're doing.
Yeah. So that's not going to happen tonight, though, because this might be the best film ever made in the history of movies. Like, there's Godfather 1 and 2.
I mean, they're all quotable.
Yeah.
They're all extremely quotable.
You know what? There's only one word that Godfather 1 and 2 don't have, and we're going to talk about that word a lot tonight. Yes. I'm not going to say the word yet. We're going to do it. How about first things first? Let's introduce you guys. Dart, you and Paul have never met before. You guys have never talked, right?
No, we haven't.
Awesome. That's good. That'll be perfect. All right, let's do some introductions, and then we'll jump into the film. Paul, you were here first. You introduce yourself?
All right. I'm Paul Gagliardi, a good Sicilian boy from... also from Appalachia too. My family is from coal country in Pennsylvania. And I do love bourbon. And I'm a teaching associate professor at Marquette University. And I wrote a book on the Federal Theater Project. And I'm currently working on a research project on ice shows of the 20th century, like the Ice Capades and Ice Follies. And so I know Cutting Edge very well. And I'm very excited to be here.
Okay. I didn't think we were actually going to have someone qualified to speak on this film. Other than like Dart and I are going to be like, come in just like, we love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I got a question do you know Ben Lindsay, Paul, over at Marquette? He's a student over there.
I don't know if you've ever actually met.
And Brian Reinflesch is a friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said
Cool.
I had forgotten you were actually at Marquette.
Yeah.
All right, Dart, you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure. Dart Adams, born, raised, bred Bostonian, South End, Lower Roxbury. It's important. Journalist, historian, author. Fact checked a lot of books. Did a few this year. Currently, you can find me in docu series like this. There's going to be a theme. Celtic City, Believers, the Boston Red Sox. Currently working on a documentary right now about the Boston shootout and a mini documentary about Reggie Lewis, the Boston Celtic who passed away in 1993. And like any kid or teenager that grew up in the late 80s, early 90s that had a VCR and a video card that could rent, I was, very much into this cult classic of a film called The Cutting Edge. And yes, it was about ice skating, but that didn't matter because sports films are sports films. And if it's quotable and it's entertaining, you're going to watch it several times over.
All right, before we get into this film, now I got to ask you a thing. Dart, I got to ask you about Rick Pitino and the
Sure.
Celtics.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, listen. Here's the thing: if Rick Pitino doesn't leave Kentucky, he wins.
Mhm.
He wins more games. He passes everybody. Like Kentucky, all Kentuckians, all of my people look at this going, if Pitino doesn't go to the Celtics, we win approximately 75 more national championships. Like we were on the verge. And then Tim Duncan has to wait an extra year and like graduate. And then he goes in for the lottery. And of course, that draws Pitino out to the Celtics thinking they're going to get him.
Yeah.
For every Kentuckian we get it. I understand why he had to go to Boston, right? But it's like, dude, it broke us in ways.
Him coming to Boston broke us. Now, what's hilarious is Bostonians, we love tradition, we love basketball, and what's wild is there is a straight parallel between Boston Celtics fandom and Kentucky Wildcats fandom. You can find Kentucky Wildcats fans amongst Bostonians, which is why, for some odd reason, so many kids from Massachusetts ended up going and signing in with Kentucky. Wayne Turner, who's from
Oh,
Roxbury, ended up
Turner,
signing with
Burner,
Kentucky.
and one.
Yep. Yes, exactly. He ends up leaving Worcester, Massachusetts, from Worcester Barnacote. I was actually there the day Rick Pitino came to visit, and he ends up signing with Kentucky. There's a few other guys that came over, but uh, when he decides I'm going to leave, the only place
Right
I'd
there.
leave Kentucky for is the Boston Celtics. And when he comes, he's expecting, okay, the Boston Celtics have the highest odds to get 1 and 2 in the 1997
In the draft.
draft
Yeah.
draft lottery. And what happens is he's like, I'm going to draft Tim Duncan, I'm going to draft Keith Van Horn, and I'm going to bring nothing but banners here to Boston. 3 and 6. He drafts Chauncey Billups, who we didn't want, and Ron Mercer,
Yep.
who we also didn't want, although he was a guard in college. Problem is, if you're gonna play a shooting guard, lead shooting guard in the NBA, defend your position and hit threes. Ron Mercer was not able to do both, or either, I should say, in the NBA. 131 games later, he ships him off. 51 games later, he ships off Chauncey Billups. And Rick Pitino realized something. I can't trade people in college, but you can trade them in the NBA. You can't carve an NBA team into your image because you can't recruit.
Right.
And all these things fell apart. And he realized that Boston is not a media market where you want to alienate people like Red Auerbach or the entire Boston City and think that you're going to get them back. And he couldn't. He would tell the players, and oh my God, D Brown, Rick Fox, anybody who was there will tell you. He would turn to the players. Dana Barrows tells the stories. He turned to the team and say, nobody's here to see you guys play. They're here to see me coach, and you're making me look bad. And he would sell books like Success is a Choice, and he would repeat things that people said to him. I guess success isn't a choice for these guys. He said that during a session with the media. And I'm like, who do you think you're going to coach? Oh, and he wanted the team to press. NBA guards. He wanted them to press NBA guards. And he made Travis Knight shoot threes. Travis Knight from UConn. So it was a disaster, and I'm glad he's gone. And he ran the entire team into the ground, and Jim O'Bryant had to pull him back, and the Celtics started winning pretty much shortly after he left. So he went back to college where he belonged. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look. Then we can, Kentuckians. We also had the Calipari going off to the Nets before he went to Memphis and us and so forth. And Calipari's this. Listen, at the end of the day, Pitino has done his mea culpa. He's come back. He's gotten the good graces of the big, and I think he's trying to work. I think he's thinking now about legacy. I think
he's trying to get Evan now.
Yeah, and stuff. Like I'm on the Mark Pope bandwagon at this point in time. I'm like, I think Pope can coach what he put together last year quickly. We'll see this year because they got like a $22 million payroll for Kentucky this year.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. So, all right, for people who did not tune in for Dart and I to go off on this thing, just wait for our new podcast called Dart and I Go Off on Tangents, coming to you new. All right. Everything has a history, including this podcast. In this case, this episode comes from the most unlikely place, right? So Dart and I were on a pod with a couple other guys, and we're actually talking about the history of the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
And you let it slip that this is like your movie. Mm-hmm. And I just filed it in the back of my head. Why, Dart? Like, why is this your jam?
Okay, I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. I'm a historian who learned to read at age 2. And in my family, there's nothing we love more than the word, the written word. Now, abstract that with growing up loving film and television. Difference with television was television you watched and it was entertaining, but rarely did you get somebody saying something really clever.
Mm-hmm.
When you did, you valued that show. Then you get cable in 1990. And then you realize, oh my God, cable shows are pretty much written by these people that write, and they love the written word so much that it's like something that they want these actors on screen to say the cleverest thing, the most out there thing, because they want everyone to know I wrote that. But then that's the same thing with screenwriting. Sometimes you have these auteurs, and you have these like amazing screenwriters who write these things, and you want them to love it so much that they find a way to get the words on the screen, subtitles, or they find a way through whatever method they can, they get the screenplay so they could read those words. And when I'm coming up, I realize that, oh, those are the films that I gravitate to. The ones with dialogue that everybody repeats, the quotable ones. And here's the thing. You can be a classic, great traditional film and have amazing dialogue that people quote, or you can be a really bad film that has dialogue people quote, or you can become a classic cult film and have dialogue people quote. There's several ways to skin a cat. In this particular instance, this is one of those cult films that has dialogue that's so quotable, you could sit there and recite it top to bottom. And myself and my younger brother, we got a cable, we had a VCR, and then we had a recorder. So you put one tape in the player, you have another tape in the VCR, you have your rental account, you rent stuff, and if you like something, you would dub it immediately. This was one of those movies. So there are so many parts of this film, there's so many layers to it, there's so much nuance, and there's so many lines, rapid fire lines said back and forth between one or two people on screen, sometimes 3, that it makes you fall in love with cinema, film, and the possibility of what it's like to write and have characters bounce off of each other. So this is one of those quotable films that I love that kind of led me to, wanting to have a first feature or be a screenwriter.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the writing here in a bit because there's like, if you don't know who wrote this film, if you're listening in right now, we got a bomb to drop on you when we tell you who actually wrote this film. All right, and then so I'm talking, Paul. How did this come about? You said something to me on Blue Sky. You're like, hey, I want to do this pod with you sometime, and I'm like, I got a guy, right? So what about you? Like, what's your relationship to this film?
It's funny because I grew up playing hockey, and like there weren't many hockey movies that we would watch. Like the same thing, like Dart. Like my friends and I, we would watch like certain, like we had Slapshot, we had Youngblood, and then later the Mighty Ducks. But I was too old for the Mighty Ducks when they came out, and I always thought it was kind of hokey. But this one hit in middle school, I think. The appeal was like, oh, the guy's wearing a Team USA sweater and he's playing the Olympics. I'm going to watch that. And he's only playing hockey for like I think 10 seconds the entire movie, and that's it. And I think I'm 90% sure I saw it in theaters, but then it was just like, what is on repeat and what do people bring to parties and what are we rewatching constantly? I had not seen it in years until I rewatched it for the pod, and I found like this the cult cinema aspect to it and the quotability, and I had a great time watching it. And I like both, like I can appreciate it and like make fun of it, but also just love it at the same time. And I that's what you want from a movie at some point, right? You want the joy.
Yeah. So I'm playing Helldivers 2 earlier today, right? With like 3 other guys. And I'm like, yeah, what are you doing later? I'm like, I got to do this film, right? And everybody, to a person, whenever you mention this movie, everybody's like, oh, I love this movie. Nobody doesn't love the cutting edge. This is just one of those like movies that sparks joy. You know, we did this on the watch party on the Sunday night thing we do on Blue Sky a few months back, and we had a huge, huge turnout that night because people have this intense relationship. And I think Dart, you're absolutely right. Like there's this aspect that takes you back. Because for me, there were like a cadre of films. There was like this and Friday and Tombstone that me and the guys would like. I'd go to my buddy's house and we would just watch like over like wear out the video on this, right? And it just became like this thing. Where do you guys want to start on this? I got 2 different paths we can go here. We can talk about cast, or we could talk about this as a hallmark of the 90s.
Okay, I'm gonna open up with just a few factoids about it. This is crazy to me.
Go nuts.
Okay, so this movie opens in like spring '92.
Yep.
After the 1992 Winter Olympics had already happened, months after it already happened. So it's no lead in. It's no, hey, we're gonna get people who are big winter sports fans or Winter Olympic event fans into the theater. No, you're not getting that at all. And then the craziest part is that when it opens in theaters, it's going up against like White Men Can't Jump. So
Yep.
it gets pretty much buried, coming out the gate. And the thing is that some people saw it in the theater, not a lot. They only made like 20 million, something, made between 23 and 25 million in the box office. Where it really took off was as a rental and on cable.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that when it really, really took off, the holiday season in 1992. I don't know why, between the Thanksgiving and Christmas to New Year's holiday in 92 going into 1993, this film explodes in popularity. All right? And I remember being in school at the beginning of the 92-93 school year, and we had this class called Independent Study. Basically, it was 30 kids in a library in Boston, in the inner city. And what did we talk about for the first 2 months of that class? This film. We would just randomly quote it, right? And then the other thing is that this is the era of the first wave of video games on Sega Genesis, the hockey video games that were popular, the NHL series, before they even had full licensing.
You know what I'm
right?
thinking about now? Scene Swingers.
Yes.
You made
Exactly.
made Gretzky bleed, right? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's that. And all these things come together. And I think I wrote something down. November 14th, 1992 is when The Cutting Edge enters the top video rentals chart on Billboard at number 13. Enters. It entered at number 13. It had already been out for a while. So that means that there was this explosion of people renting it during that winter. And then it gets higher and higher and higher. It's like near the top. And like White Men Can't Jump is like just above it by the time we get to like December. And like the only time I've seen that was another extremely quotable cult classic in our community that is not considered a great film at all. Prince's Under the Cherry Moon.
Mm.
So that tells me everything I need to know about the reach of this film and why it's so beloved. I can't mention this film, and I haven't since like 1993, without somebody saying everybody's favorite quotable line from this film. I'm not going to say it here.
We're not going to say the word yet? All right, we're going to wait.
No, we're not
Okay.
going to say it yet. No.
Can I jump in actually? Because I have thoughts on this. I don't know, Paul. Like you watch this film, and it's you know what vibe I get out of this? I get Dead Poet Society vibe out of this. Here's why, right? For me, growing up in like Kentucky, I've never been up to like New England before, or anything like, and so they're doing all this stuff. There's like this wealthy class, like if you're like working class, like there's almost like this unattainable vibe of like this new wealthy New England kind of thing. They're running in the like. I love the montage, the training montages in this film, critically underrated, right? But like all the holiday scenes are like Thanksgiving, Christmas, like there's a sense like Paul, you're rocking a very lovely sweater right now, right? Like it's like I want to put this on. I want to put this on and feel warm. I don't know, Paul. What do you think?
I was thinking about it, like, because I was rewatching a little bit of it today, and I always forget how much is like the holidays, right? And it's like that, what Dart was saying, like, does it hit because, it has enough of a holiday vibe for people, and enough of like a vision of what the other half is doing at Christmas and New Year's, right? That is appealing. I mean, like, he's working class schlub from Minnesota. She's like landed gentry from Connecticut. And I think I agree with you, like, Jason, like that idea of like there is something like class based that I found appealing as a kid. But yeah, the New Year's Eve scene in this film is one of my favorites, and I don't know why. It's just like it is so outside my purview of how you celebrate a holiday. I think that's it. I think it's just like so over the top, and I kind of I'm here for it. Absolutely.
Well, it falls into that trope, right? For the New Year's, it was like When Harry Met Sally, or these other things, right? Another film we've done here on the pod recently, which is like, it's the uncomfortable first embrace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have to, like, we know these two from the very time, right?
Yeah, because it's like, how do we negotiate this? Like,
right.
All right, that's over, that's done, that's finished,
Right.
And it's not. It absolutely isn't.
We don't have to acknowledge this, right? And that's the tension, is the fight of like acknowledging we clearly, want to make baby skaters or something. I don't, there's a lot there. Let's talk about the cast on this film. We've got two leads in this film who were positioned in 1992 to do very well. And for whatever reason, like, it doesn't quite happen. You got DB Sweeney, who's coming off of a stint in Lonesome Dove, if I recall correctly, right? And then I'm going to need a moment because I have to talk about Moira Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
And 15-year-old Jason Herbert just, oh my God. I was so sold on this woman. Was she 21, 22, maybe 23 when they're filming this? She's young, just a little bit older than the third chair trombone player from Callaway County High School. Like, I'm still shocked she doesn't explode, but I've got some surprises here, and I think that there's a thing here. Do you guys know that she hurts herself when they're filming this movie?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Do you know what other film she was supposed to be in? Another classic sports film.
Is it A League of Their Own?
A League of Their Own. She's supposed to play the little sister.
Yeah.
Yep. And then went to Lori Petty.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you take this film, League of Their Own, Moira Kelly goes supernova. That's my thought. And I think that it just is one of those things that doesn't happen. What are you guys' thoughts on this, on the casting of this film? Because it's like Terry O'Quinn, pre-Lost Terry O'Quinn, his greatness. Mm-hmm. Like, he just feels rich to me. But anyway, go ahead. What are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts when you think about DB Sweeney and Moira Kelly? Paul?
Moira Kelly, yeah, I've had the same thing. Like, I forgot how much I enjoy her performance in this. And she is that perfect, like, snarky and snooty and demanding, and a Kate, right, from Taming of the Shrew, right? Like, and I forgot that she's in the David Lynch Fire Walk with Me film, and she's fantastic in that too. So I was kind of like fantasy booking, like what would happen to her. Like I can't believe like her career didn't take off. And DB Sweeney is always somebody that like I think was just so ubiquitous at this time period. I think Eight Man Out, I think is his best
Oh,
acting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And here he balances that kind of arrogant hockey player with someone who has like some legit feelings for this woman. I think that's they're both lead performances are really, really strong.
For me, Moira Kelly was, first of all, everybody had a crush on her.
Everyone still has a
Everybody had
crush on her.
I remember I watched. I joked. My younger brother was joking with me because there's a show called what was it called? Tree Hill, One Tree Hill.
Mhm.
And I remember when it started, my brother looked at me and says, "Wait a minute. So there's a TV show about a bunch of kids playing basketball in North Carolina. One of the kids is a bookworm who writes, and the other kid is his dad left his family for another family, and the moms are Moira Kelly and Barbara Allen Woods. So there's two hot moms on different sides of town, and he was just like, as long as Moira Kelly's in it, I know you're watching. So there was one thing there, right? And Moira Kelly was kind of lined up to be like the next, star because she had this. She could have been in League of Her Own. She had Firewalk with Me. HBO kept trying to do things
Yes.
to blow her up. Like there was the film. There was an adaptation of a play of Daybreak. I think it was her and
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Like it just like it didn't happen for her. There was With Honors that just didn't break out. Joe Pesci, a vehicle for him.
Yep.
It's like same thing with DB Sweeney. Fire in the Sky didn't blow up.
Love that
So it was
movie.
like yes, they kept trying these vehicles for them that just like didn't work. But they were like these actors that always worked.
Yeah.
Whether it was television, whether it was bit parts, they constantly were working. But I think that Moira Kelly and DB Sweeney were perfect casting. But I think the person who really made it work that we haven't talked about yet is a man named Roy Dotrice, who played Pamchenko,
Yes.
who made this all work in their scenes together. Legano ni legano is gray area.
What a
It's like
beach.
yes. The scenes that they had together, even when they did minimal speaking, when they just looked at each other, like there's the scene where it's like, where do I place my hands?
So well done.
And I was like, you can't buy that. Like, I don't know. I wish I could have been around for just maybe a few table reads to see how how they played off of each other. Because so many of these scenes, it's just them, and you're automatically you bought in. You are immersed. I am engaged with just those two by themselves in a rink, speaking to each other. Like the scene where he dares her to play hockey.
Oh yeah.
They just have conversations. Yes, Doug can read.
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't check it all and start a think tank. So where did you matriculate from? And she says, I had tutors. Closest book. Boom. Excellent tutors. That read is amazing. And the thing is that when you're a teenager, I was what? How old when I was like maybe 17, 18 when I saw this for the first time. And I'm like, I didn't grasp that. How did how did she know to do that? How many takes did it take to do that? When did they come up with that interaction, that back and forth? Like, that, how did they know that the way that they did this, would engage people? Or did they know? Or did it just work for the director and it was like, all right, next scene? But either way, that informed when I wanted to write or I wanted to do, television and film. If I can't get the two to interact like that, they're supposed to be on screen together, I'm doing it wrong. That informed everything I knew about drawing in an audience and having them suspend belief that these two are building a relationship, whatever it may be, working, uh, uh, romantic, whatever. I'm not going to believe that they're going to get there if I don't believe them here when they're barely at each other's throats just trying to negotiate how we're going to work together.
Yeah, I think, Dart, what you're getting at here is like, the unsung hero of this film might actually be the casting director. Because this film lives or dies based on the relationship between D.B. Sweeney and Moira Kelly, right? And the other actors are terrific. And I want to come back to the coach in a second, right? But this doesn't work unless these two are just bouncing off of one another, and this like sense early on of like, I don't like you, but I like you, but I don't want to like you. Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trust there. I think you guys know there's a whole series of of sequels to this we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah.
And they made the reason why neither of them were in those sequels is because they made an agreement not to appear without the other. And it's like, I like the fact, knowing on the outside, that these two were friends. Like they made and there was a real trust there, at some sense, I kept thinking of Ukrainian alcohol psychosis. I'm like, oh,
yes.
Ukraine, that's relevant today. This is officially a history movie. We can talk about this.
Yeah, there you go.
I got to talk about Moira Kelly's face. I wrote down when I'm watching that this morning. Moira Kelly gives great face, and by that, like the scene when her dad is walking Doug out of the office. And she's like, oh, wow. I was just coming to say goodbye. And he's like, hold that thought. He says, Doug's going to stick around. And the look, the acting she does, just like the sheer terror. And she has like moments like this throughout the film where she's just communicating so much stuff there.
I was even thinking the scene where she goes after they win, they get placed in the Olympic team, and the first time she has alcohol and she gets hammered. He goes and sleeps with the rival skater, and I think she's only wearing sunglasses, but it's still her face is projecting disgust and contempt and fury in a way that is just, it's fantastic. I would love to know how many takes there were for each of those scenes, but I suspect not a lot, because I think she's so skilled at using her face, and it's remarkable.
There's that scene, and what sets it up is crazy, because it was another thing that happens that had me like, wait a minute, this is not some run-of-the-mill movie. Because when he's like, all right, he writes the check for him to leave. And Doug sees the check and he's like, double or nothing. Crumples up the check. And I'm like, wait, what is happening here? Who wrote this? Who would do this? And then they leave laughing, and you see her face. And I'm like, okay, that didn't go the way I expected it to go. So, I was just, who wrote this damn movie? And it was that early in the film, I'm like, wait a minute. How have I had all these emotions and all these things? How I don't know how this is going to go. This is not formulaic.
Right.
I know there's going to be a will they, won't they, but it's not formulaic. It's like when Harry Met Sally, I remember my younger brother and I look at the screen like, this is a romantic comedy? You can do this? And it was like that. I was like, I know we're gonna get to it because we've seen the flyer, we've seen the poster, we've seen the cover of the VHS tape. He's like, but how are they gonna get there if they're starting out like this? There's something else going on here. So yeah, that kind of rocked me too.
Yeah, it's got all those traditional elements of the rom-com, right? The will they, won't they. We know 3/4 away in, they're going to have the hurdle they've got to overcome to come back together in the last little bit. There's a reason why those beats happen, and so we expect them. When we don't get them, we're almost disappointed sometimes, and so forth. And I read once, when people talk about pacing in a film, it's like, oh, this moves really, really well. It's because it's actually hitting those beats when people are expecting them to, right? It's not really about the dialogue. But Dart, I think at this point in time, we've got to talk. He's like, who wrote this film? The three of us know who wrote this film, and it's time to talk about who wrote. Dart, I feel like this is your baby here. You want to talk about Darn Adams, who wrote this movie, and why does that matter? It's so utterly not shocking. Knowing.
So the film was written by a man named Tony Gilroy.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
All right, so this is gonna be funny because I'm going to do something that like people hate, but I do it for effect. He wrote the screenplays of The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Ultimatum, and he also wrote Michael Clayton and Duplicity. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that. But also he wrote several plays. Right? So he is well versed in knowing this beat works here. These are how characters play off each other. This is going to work with an audience. This is going to work with a different audiences. This is because if you can write for the stage and write for screen, it's a different animal entirely. So you understand beats, you understand meter, you understand pacing, you understand all these intricate things, the interplay between actor and actor. Uh, when do you do things to affect change? When do you do things to evoke emotion without there even being words written? What can the actor do? Or just finding the right actors to do that. You know what you've written and you know where you want to arrive and having the right people in place to do that. But in order to do that, you have to be a master in terms of like the written word or putting things out there so that they, come together. And Tony Gilroy is, a master at all of that. And he's done it in multiple levels. So, but at the time, I don't know that.
No.
I have no idea who Tony Gilroy is.
This is baby Tony Gilroy, frankly. This is like his early career stuff. I mean, this is 1992. So he's writing this, 90, 91? He's writing this 30-something years ago. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
And he cleaned up a lot of other scripts too, which is the thing that we really could get into, but we'll leave it there.
Paul, what's your thoughts on Tony Gilroy?
I didn't know. I don't think I ever made the connection until I started my recent rewatches, and it just I was like, the name looks familiar, and as I had to like lie down for a minute, I was like, I was shocked, but I think like, yeah, you could say like there are points where you'd say like, oh, this is kind of an early screenplay in a guy's career, but like there's just like, yeah, I like what Dart said, that scene of crumbling up the check and doing the double or nothing. It is so like, on the one hand, like it takes you, like you're like kind of shocked it's happening at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But then the more you think about it, like it is so in tune with who this character is, right? He is reckless and dangerous. As a hockey guy, I was always like the scene where he, like his helmet that he's wearing, that crappy Wayne Gretzky helmet that provided no protection whatsoever. He's sleeping with an East German figure skater the night before the game, right? He is reckless. He is dangerous. And like that baller kind of move of like, I'm going to do this. And that gains the respect of somebody who, the dad who's like, I want this to happen. They're all kind of desperate characters. And man, it's good. It's just like, they're just these moments that just like, he gets the characters, he gets the situation, he gets the pacing. And yeah, like I'm just, the more and more I think about it, the more impressed I am with the script, the screenplay.
I just feel like this film could have so easily been a made-for-TV movie with some lower production value, and it's like Tony Gilroy's writing just elevates this to a level. Really, when I watched it, I was like, this film doesn't deserve to have writing this good, right? It doesn't feel like he's at a level already, and that's not a disservice to the film because we all love the movie, we love the actors, we love so much about this film, but it's like this is really playing it like this next level. And as a testament to my fandom of Tony Gilroy, I only have a tattoo of one.
Wow!
Do you know what this is? That's Aurebesh, right? Which is the written language of Star Wars, right?
Yes, and we're getting to
of Andor, right?
Yes,
and the scene in the first season of Andor when they're on the planet, when they're in the prison, and he's continually asking, how many guards on the next level? How many guards? And he looks at him and says, and they finally get to this point. He's like, never more than 12, right? There's no going back here. that's what this means on my wrist. Is there's no going back. Like there's no quitting now. We have to keep moving forward, right? So, I mean,
Gilroy cleaned up a couple of scripts for people, but he also is the co-writer of one of my all-time favorite sci-fi films, which is Rogue One.
oh please,
Yes,
you should
Rogue
see,
One.
yeah, up here.
Rogue One, I'm a huge fan of Rogue One, and so is my brother because we're Gen Xers and we loved everything post-apocalyptic, but also we were huge fans of Robotech. And Robotech pretty much starts because aliens come, completely decimate the Earth, and for 3 generations afterwards, the humans have to fight these alien beings from a Earth that's been almost completely eradicated. And that is kind of the theme we get, or the feeling we get from Rogue One. They're going to lose,
Yeah,
but we
they have to
still want to
lose.
watch anyway.
The balls it took to write this to where, because they wrote an ending to Rogue One where they survive, and it doesn't
Yes.
work. And God, the way that Andor rips your guts out, because you have to. I don't know if you guys were like me, but when I finished that last episode of the second season of Andor, I had to watch Rogue One like immediately, right? Like rolled right into it, right? And it just hits you so much harder. My Star Wars hot take is I think Cassian Andor might be my second favorite Star Wars character of all time at this point in time. Like I knowing now, like what happens with him, Jyn Erso, the whole crew.
Yeah.
That's the storyline that's compelling. There's no magic here. There's no wizards. There's no mystical energy. These are just people who are just trying to get shit done.
We're not worrying about midichlorian levels when we're watching this at all.
No, and the beauty of Andor is it shows the real power, the real threat of the Empire is not some maniacal emperor. It's the overwhelming, machinery of this empire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how it can just keep throwing things at you. I also now we're talking about Gilroy here. I got to talk about Michael Clayton.
Yeah,
I think it's Clooney's best work. I don't think it's close.
Mm-hmm.
It's that last scene, that it doesn't look like a negotiating scene. It's just, how do you make George Clooney into a loser, right? And that was a thing he struggled with.
That's the thing, because I talked about this with somebody else. There's a film that people hate. It's called Southland Tales. And the reason why Southland Tales people hate it is because it messes with you. I say it's mindfuckery. What it does is it takes a bunch of people that are known to be heroic roles, and they make them all losers.
Yeah.
And it takes a bunch of people in comedic roles and makes them all the villains. And it immediately makes you bristle at that. So when you see this man on screen who is always cool, always gets the woman, is always the main guy, he's always, the focus of everything. Like
he's got to figure it out.
Pick a film here, pick a film, Ides of March, like pick a film.
Right.
He's the guy. You know what I'm saying? Three Kings, he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Clayton, you completely have to throw all that out when you're watching what's happening on screen. And that is tough for an audience to do.
And Tom Wilkinson, man.
Oh yeah.
That whole scene where they're standing there and Wilkinson's holding the bread. He's like, if you wanted to come after me, you should have come after me in Wisconsin. It's like, Paul, there you go.
Yeah, that never come after anybody in Wisconsin. The last thing you'll experience.
All right, I have to ask you guys a question. How do we feel about the big move here? And I've got some other side questions to ask you. The Pamchenko, right? We know this is like, how do we feel about this as a device? Because I'm trying to figure out the mathematics. The math doesn't, like, I am willing to suspend disbelief because I don't. What do we think about this move? We know it's coming, right? It's an ultimate symbol of love.
I don't think it's legal. I don't know. I'm totally like it's
legano, ni legano.
No,
it's gray area.
Yes, it's great. Like it's just so over the top, and I can't criticize it, but it makes no sense, and you don't care. It's more like a pro wrestling move at a certain point than it is like a figure skating move, and there's a lot of overlap between skating and pro wrestling that people don't want to acknowledge, but yeah, it is like, it's just like a perfect amount of like early 90s, like long 1980s sort of sports movie cheese. And yeah.
But the way it was presented, he takes paper, sketches, puts them on the ice,
Yeah.
spaces them out in front of them in a serious scene.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even realize that. And he lets them arrive at it on their own. But the first person there is Moira Kelly, and she's supposedly like the smart one, the well-read one, the one that's, genius level, the one that everybody is, we need to find the guy to get her over the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who comes over from the other side but, the reckless guy who's like, is this a bounce throw into a catch? Oh my God. And she's like, no, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh my God, that's amazing. He's like, the Pamchenko twist. He's like, no. He's like, oh, what, you want to name it after you? And that scene is amazing because I forget it's stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm
You
saying?
buy
I
in.
forget this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it's presented, it makes it seem like this is a viable thing that the powers that be don't want anybody to do. No, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even though that there are figures of how to do it step by step drawn on the ice. You're actually taking it seriously.
And they're drawn on like pieces of paper, look like almost like ancient parchment. Like he's passing
Yes.
along this like wizardry to his like wizard students. It's just like it's shot amazingly, and again, like you don't. It doesn't matter. It's completely ludicrous, but you don't care. It's just like it's perfect. It's
And
perfect.
the lead in, Pamchenko says that he says, European nationals, they sweep.
Yes. Yes.
There's like
It's
a Rocky
over.
Four element to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Nobody can win. They'll get the gold. And then he lays it out. So it already raises the anticipation. This is our only outside shot of getting it. So you already, again, you've thrown out the idea. This is one of the most ridiculous ideas in any sports movie. And also, I think that one of the things that has as a benefit to it, there were so few movies about skating in a sports film that took skating seriously as this film did, because their training sequences,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about
I
that.
feel like if you came up in the early 90s and you made a sports film later and you were like, you weren't inspired by or you didn't take any beats from the way they presented the training sequences in the cutting edge, you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely lying. Because there's no way you make a sports film and you don't incorporate this. Even the way they use music in the sequences,
Mm-hmm.
and the training sequences. And I loved she's at, is it lunch, dinner?
She falls
Bam!
asleep.
Yeah, falls asleep. That came out of nowhere. And it was
Well,
perfect.
they have to do this thing here, right? Which is you have an entire generation of people who grow up watching Slapshot and grow and like during the violence of the 80s when dudes are like knocking the crap out of each other on the hockey rink. You've got to figure out a way to elevate. And this is a thing, and we see this in like Doug's conversation with his family, right? When he goes back, they all think he's been doing this hyper macho
Yeah.
merchant marines thing. And he's like, no, I've been doing figure skating and like finger painting, but it's like what they've got to be able to do is raise the physicality to people who don't know anything about figure skating, right? And say, wait a second, these are real athletes doing really intricate, muscular, sporting stuff that is on par, if not harder, than hockey,
Mm-hmm.
the toughest thing, right? You've got to
Yeah.
make ice skating tough for the audience.
Yeah.
So a film that pays a lot, that should pay more homage, and I felt like it did to this film, is Stick It. Because Stick It had to sell that gymnastics are the hardest sport and the athletes are elite, the most elite in the world. And I don't think it could have gotten that point across if not for the way they presented what figure skating is, the training and the intensity of it in this film.
I was so afraid you were going to go with Jim Cotta.
Oh, that's hilarious. And yes, we all did see Jim Cotta.
Paul, what are your thoughts on the... listen, we all grew up in the 80s. We love montages.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Paul, on these montages? They work for you?
They do, and I am a fiend for a good montage. The Rocky montages are like part of like my mythology. I love, like his arrogance coming in like the first skating session. And I've never worn figure skates, but like that, like the toe pick, right? And he's trying to
Oh,
do
you're
the
going to say it.
knees.
All right,
Oh,
do
you said
it.
it.
You
I
You
said
did
said
it.
it.
All
it.
right.
We made
I
it
couldn't.
49 minutes. All right,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. But I love her. I love her responses to him. But I love, like as Dark said, like the physicality of it, right? In the intricacy of it, and how, yeah, like I don't think people realize like just how radically different a hockey skate and figure skate are, right? Just they perform differently, they wear differently. But I love, yeah, like his just exhaustion, and I love, and then as the other training sequences start, like they are basically, they go from like the training of trusting each other to the training, like the we're working to meet our goal, and it's all about sex, right? Everything
Yeah.
is about, we're
Yeah.
gonna
They're
have
right next
sex.
to each other, face to face,
Yes.
pumping
Yeah.
iron and
Yes.
lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
it's
like, wait, what's going on here?
also that song is awesome. What is it that what's the name? I wrote it.
Right on time.
Right on time. Dude,
Right on time.
dude, when I'm in the gym sometimes doing cardio, which never ever ever happens, but if it did, I would be banging the right on time. That song is jamming.
Yes.
Paul,
And
you
also
go ahead.
Groove Master. Also Groove Master.
Oh yeah.
By Mighty Arrow featuring MC Shan,
Thank you.
which his part actually sneaks into the film, which cracks me up.
Yes. Because it's a fun scene, right? When he is out skating, because he's got to get to a point where he comes in as a complete novice, and then he's got to catch and then surpass her in ways.
Mhm.
And like he does that during that Groove Master scene, where that shot where she like goes through his hand and he holds onto it, and his best line in the entire movie is when he shoots his eyebrows at her right there. When he's got this cocky ass grin, he's like, yeah, gotcha. You know?
Mhm.
I'm like, I got shivers.
Because the toe pick scene, I think, set up so much. Because in terms of how hard is this? How much of a challenge is this for Doug? Toe pick, and like she sold it. Like I don't know how good of a skater she actually was, but that scene totally sold everything. And then at the end when she skates away, toe pick, and then giggles. I'm like, that is one of the great iconic line deliveries of the early 90s.
If you say this movie to anybody, the first thing they say is toe pick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The first thing they say is toe pick. And you can say this one word, and people know this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank God they didn't name this film Toe Pick,
Toe
but
pick.
like Cutting Edge is a perfect name for this, right? But there's that great. I mean, God, Toe Pick just works here.
Mm-hmm.
I need to ask you about Kate and Hale. Are they the worst couple in film history? And also, and I know we're a family podcast. Do Kate and Hale have sex? This is the question I sat here trying to think, because Doug's getting his. Doug is like is essentially like the United Nations at this point in time, reaching across Cold War barriers, right?
Literally.
Right. Yeah. I actually looked up Naman Geeta this morning. Like, she's Canadian. But are Kate and Hale getting it on? And if so, do they ever turn the lights on? I'm just like, there's nothing there. Am I right?
I don't think so, because like there's the scene where they're at nationals and she's crawling around looking for, I forget what her earring, right? And he is just like, she is like there's a lot of scenes in this film of her posterior, right? A lot of close-ups, and
thankfully,
but like she's crawling around and like he's just like paying no attention to her at all.
Yeah.
And I think like that signals like a completely sexless relationship.
There's a great line after Hale, and again, like, announces their engagement against her wishes, right?
Oh my goodness.
But there's a great line delivery by Doug, by D.B. Sweeney, who says, "Can you take off the rock? It cuts my hand."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, oh, he doesn't like this at all. You know, is he the first to figure out that he's in love with her, or does she figure it out before him?
So I have an interesting theory
All
on
right,
this.
I want to hear this.
I think you brought up Keaton. I think he knew before either of them.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that their relationship was one of convenience. And it was only going well because she still hadn't found a partner. Once the timeline to their relationship ending started the day Doug began being her partner. And it all started falling apart because she started spending more time with him out of necessity to, keep her career going. So she had a shot at gold in 92 because another thing is that we kind of lose track of when did they start training for 92 because I'm estimating that it was 90.
Yeah, I think this is a couple years.
Yes. I think
Mhm.
this happens over like at least 18 months.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's 1990 when they finally go get him because Panchenko said something very interesting to him. No one else is coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I guarantee you, I'm the last person coming for you. So you don't have another shot after this.
Great line
And then
delivery.
it leads to the
Yeah.
scene, where he's like double or nothing with the check.
Mm.
And then they come out laughing. And Kate's like, what in the hell? And as soon as they start working and, start figuring things out, where do I place the hands? And then them being in the rink together, going back and forth with, can you move your clubs? And like I start from the scene where the slap shot happens, hits him in the nose. She's feeling guilty in the hospital. He's like, and Panchenko says, you feel fear because you found a partner. From there on, I think he knew immediately. Her boyfriend knew immediately. Because I feel like as she started training more and more, they got more and more distant. And I think it was a last ditch effort to announce the engagement and put the ring on her finger.
To keep her.
Because he
Mhm.
thought, he thought that if I don't do this now, we're gonna break up before I even get here.
Yeah. Because
So that confrontation you mentioned when she's on the ground looking for the earring, he already knew it was over.
yeah, I
He
think,
already knew it was over.
yeah, because like when they meet at the New Year's Eve party, and she introduces Doug to his fiance, they both come throw in like,
Oh,
yeah, like,
that is a dick measuring contest
ooh, yeah,
immediately.
yeah, like immediately. And so but I think like, yeah, like either he's already suspected it or he's just like is already threatened
Yeah.
by Doug.
It's funny because the dad is completely oblivious.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think the coach knew, and I think he knew.
So who knows it first between Doug and Kate?
I think,
Because I think it's Doug. I think Doug the brute is more aware.
I think it is Doug. I think it is Doug, and I think the scene that kind of highlights it is because I think Kate's late to accept it because when he gives her present and he gives her a Gordie Howe jersey
Mm,
and she doesn't know what the hell it is.
Mhm.
yeah.
He's like, it's Gordie Howe. He's like the greatest player ever. And you realize, wait a minute, a hockey guy gave a Gordie Howe sweater to her?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here? And she's like, I like it. I like it. Because she realizes that, wait a minute, why did he give that to me? But I think he knew before she did. It took her a while to come to grips with it.
But then there's that scene of her wearing the jersey, and she
Yes.
doesn't look better in the film. And when she's like, she's kind of like wrapped up in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's clearly feeling the feels when they're away.
Yeah.
How about the scene? Oh, one of the all-time great, most quotable scenes is he leaves. And he's off whoring
I
in
know
New
where you're
York.
going.
He's not New York. He went to Boston,
He's whoring in New York. He's not in
Yeah.
Connecticut.
He needs a weekend
Ramjet the
away. Yeah.
rookie. Where did Ramjet the rookie come from? That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's Roger Ramjet, but where did you get Ramjet the rookie?
You know what I dig though is and this is a sign of like Doug's like continual understanding of the sport is he's watching that video and he figures it out.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about that? Like there's this
Yeah.
revelation that Doug is intellectually a lot smarter than he's letting on,
Mhm.
right? Or that we're made to think of him. Because he's always like, wait a second, this wasn't on this guy over here. This is on Kate.
Mhm.
Yes, Doug can read.
Yeah. Right.
Doug-
And that fight they have with his dad are with her dad towards the end. You know, when they're like, he's like, it was, you know, that dude was
You
getting
needed
done.
yeah. You needed a go-to guy. You should have asked for a go-to girl.
Ooh.
And then she admits that she messed up.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And she's gonna retire.
Yeah.
How do you retire like 22? Like, I mean, I would like to.
The empty case. There's supposed to be a gold in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about the final thing? I mean, because like we know they're going in. She's like, we can't. He's like, we can't do this, MJ. Go, you'll die. You know. And she's like, we're doing it. What are our thoughts on this climax?
So much happened.
Yeah.
Leading up to it, there was Lori Pekarovsky.
Oh.
You know.
Okay. Can we?
There was that.
Can she be with Doug after he sleeps with Lori Pekarovsky? And like, you know, that's the thing. If you're dating, right, or you've got this, how about you have a will they won't they relationship with a friend, right, that you were clearly attracted to, but you haven't announced those feelings for one another. Is it still fair game to go date, even though or to even have a one night stand with somebody? Like, what are the rules here? That's what they're playing with here. So this idea is like, you're clearly in love with this woman, but neither of you will admit it. Therefore, it's okay to sleep with this other person. And girl number one has got to accept that because she's engaged to guy number two. It's so good.
Yeah. And it's I don't know if it's a criticism of mine in the movie, but it's just so fascinating of his character, right? That he, in that scene where she gets drunk and like you would think hockey bro, right?
Yes.
You know, is going to take advantage of her, but he has the moral moment where he's not going to do that. But then he goes and sleeps with the rival, right? And I don't know how you overcome that as a couple, right? But I think but I like that in that terms of the characterization because he is a complicated figure. Like when I was rewatching,
It's like he's relapsing almost.
Yeah. Like I was rewatching it with my wife a couple weeks ago, and I said, you know, one thing always bothers me about this movie. He's from Minnesota, and he has a Bobby Hull Blackhawks jersey that he cherishes. Like, what? No, that is not.
Well, he's also got the North Stars jacket the whole time.
The North Stars jacket.
Yes.
But then my wife was like, well, it's also like that weird thing in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where they're in suburban Chicago and he's wearing the Gordie Howe jersey. So maybe it's something about 1980s water in, you know, the Midwest. But I don't know.
You said water. You are a Philly guy. Oh my! Yeah, you just gave it away.
Water came out.
No, all of us Northeast guys all have that because in Boston, if it's not Boston, Massachusetts, or New England, why do you have it? Like as far as we go, it's like a Providence Friars jersey or a UConn uniform. It's like past New England. No, you can't have a New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, anything.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a thing? I was at Yellowstone National. I was in Cody, Wyoming. I was going to Yellowstone, right? Mm-hmm. And it's with a friend of mine. And this would have been like 2010, 2011. This is John Wall era Kentucky basketball, right? Mm-hmm. So I see a guy wearing a Kentucky hat, and I immediately throw up the 3 goggles at him, right? Because that's what Eric Bledsoe and John Wall were throwing up back then. Yeah. And he's wearing a Kentucky hat, and he doesn't throw it back. Like Kentucky fans are famous, I think you know this, Dart, for like finding each other no matter where we are. But if you're wearing our gear and you're not a fan, that is stolen valor. I'm coming for your ass. It's like a motorcycle, like a motorcycle. I'm coming for that patch. Give me that K back. You know?
Yeah.
So, but here's my thoughts on Jersey. Maybe he talks about loving the smell of the ice, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he's just a fan of the game and understands like it's Gordie Howe. I think Gordie Howe transcends any particular team.
Yeah.
I think
especially if it's your dad or your uncles who got you into the game and that was their.
Yeah. No, I
think the audience needs to know who he is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bobby Hull was a giant piece of shit. So maybe we shouldn't die in this hell. He was horrible. Racist, misogynist, drunk.
I think that they cut that from the scene. Like, you know, Tony Gore wrote this whole scene. Is like, in which Doug explains to Kate the ethics of playing hockey. You know,
Again, the fun of being a historian.
yeah, we ruin it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to give your favorite quote? We're gonna take apart. Because Dart, you were saying this is one of the quotable films. Let's take.
Oh, this is one of the most quotable films of the early '90s. Now, the thing that gets me too is it's something you mentioned that also made me like fall more in love with this film. She looks at this picture. It's like, what is this? He says, "Oh, it's a picture of me smelling the ice," and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Pardon?" Says, "Okay." So I said to one of the guys that works in the rink that when I came on, I loved the smell of the ice. So when I came in to smell the ice, they took a picture of it and he gave it to me. Like that's a lot of world building
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and makes you like really, oh wow, I'm so invested in this film for little things like that. You
Yeah.
know, that 30, 40 seconds. That's what makes me like watch this. But in terms of like quotability, topic, legano ni legano is gray area. It's not entirely true. He went to Boston. Lori Pekarovsky, Ramjet the rookie here.
She can't even curse
There's
properly.
Oh yeah, there's so many things. I'm surprised you don't check it all and start your own think tank. Yes, Doug can read. Like there's so many things in this film, but it's like there are entire passages of this film, entire scenes where my brother and I would just sit there like it's house party, like we could do with Friday, like you could do with The Godfathers 1 and 2,
Just keep talking,
like you
Dart.
could
I'm
do with
signing you up for
Godfathers
more
1 and
episodes.
2, like you could do with Ghostbusters, like you could do with like any if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Predator. It's on that same level.
Yeah.
So for me, there's so and like when Harry met Sally, their entire scenes, people just sit there and they quote. I could do the same
Yeah.
thing with this film,
Mm-hmm.
and it's wild. Like, uh, Lori Pekarovsky and thing. Don't get too close. You might get you might get diabetes. The arm got caught in the lederhosen. You know what that means? We're in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god,
You
so
know,
good.
Or the very simple thing when they finish skating and he got it and she's late. And so he's just calm skating around and he goes, yes, 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 yes. And then they immediately cut to Pamchenko outside in the snow, yes, doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Like it's things like that that like really sold this film.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put it all together, like there's so much you can quote from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to pick one, but there's so many. If you were to play this film start top to bottom, starting from when he wakes up in the bed with the athlete from in '88.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they run into each other in
Yeah.
'88.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honey, where I'm from, we stand for the national anthem.
Yes.
Oh,
There you go.
That's
constantly
great.
has her.
Yes.
You know, Paul, what about you? What do you got? Because I've got one line that
Okay,
I'm hoping you guys don't key in on.
I have a few moments that just always stand out to me, right? When they're going to skate before nationals and he's clearly nervous and he goes and pukes. About like his face, he's like, I'm better now. Right. Like I'm butchering the line. I love his interaction when he goes back to Minnesota and his dad or his brother is having this big bash at his sports bar. And he's like, oh, my brother's back from the Merchant Marines. And Doug confesses he's been training to figure skate. And they're sitting in the back. And there are two lines. And the brother says, is it something I did? Like almost like a kind of like, because like there's not really a whole lot of discussion of queerness in this
Right.
film.
But it's implied.
That's one of them. It's like this kind of like this paranoia. And then he says, and this is my own research right now. He's like, you're going to end up being Snoopy in the Ice Capades in 2 years. But then there's a moment when they meet the rival, and they're skating at nationals, and I forget the former
Brian?
partner. Yes, and he's like, oh, I understand why you've been keeping him away from me. That's like a wink,
Yeah.
and that's like this overt acknowledgement of like male queer figure skating that you start to see.
Don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, and you start to see this in the 90s, where there's this acknowledgement, guys like Brian Boitano and others, where hey, yeah, that we're queer. A lot of us are queer, and but there's another. Yeah, those are my most always. I find just really fascinating. But the Snoopy line always kills me. Like that's
you're gonna be Snoopy in the Ice Capades.
I'll be Snoopy in the Ice Capades.
At the risk of yeah. And Doug's face, like he's like it's almost like he's never encountered a gay man who was hitting on him before.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. He's like, shocking, which tells us a lot about hockey, or at least the perceived ideas of masculinity inside of hockey, where guys are hiding it. Right. I'm certain there are gay hockey guys. Right.
Yes.
Here's my line, and it's the very end, where he's like, "You didn't have to do that." And she's like, "Yes, I did, because I love you." And he looks at her and says, "Just remember who said it first."
Said it first.
Yeah.
And it's just him getting her one last time, and then they kiss, and it's just beautiful and perfect. And it's like,
I want to kick a little ass.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I love this movie so much. Okay. We talk a lot about, this is obviously a history-centered podcast. We've been talking about these lives and so forth, and our lives and so forth. I want to do some projecting. Did you guys ever watch the sequels? For me, the sequels are kind of like this nebulous thing, and I never watched them. So let's pretend for a moment that they don't exist. In your mind's eye.
I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. In your mind's eye, here's the real question though, because we often get some, like when we did Pretty Woman, the answers were all over the place when I asked this question. Do Doug and Kate stay together?
So I'm going to start.
Okay. Dart's got ideas.
When I taught screenwriting online for a brief space of time. And one of the things I did was I had several things that I did where it's like I gave people an assignment. One of the assignments was, and this is a long time ago to give you an idea what I mean. I said, write the first 10 pages of a sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, oh my God.
And one of the things was I kind of led this, like, it's Ferris's kids, right? And I said the second thing was, and this is sound hilarious, give me a sequel to The Cutting Edge. And it's Doug and Kate's daughter.
Yes.
And son. And so I definitely think they're together. I think that, and it's funny because I think every single sequel arrived at the same idea. They were training skaters, but they weren't training just figure skaters. Doug was training hockey players, and she was training skaters. And they would trade off sometimes because they would see that, maybe she would be better suited for this. So I felt like at some point, a girls' hockey team came out of it. And that was kind of the thing that I saw, that they would just be like, look, we're not getting these girls to the Olympics, but there's an opportunity here. So maybe we can get these girls, whip them into shape, and turn them into hockey players. And then that would be another type of movie where it's those two. Then they have to find another coach to come in and help them with these girls going along, bring them along. And it would have to be like, who would that be? What would that look like? So that was usually that. So I absolutely think that they stay together, and I think that they have kids. And I think that the kids have to live up to their parents' accomplishments, and one of them kind of wants to be completely defiant.
Paul, what do you think?
So I have never thought of this before, but like my mind is going spinning.
Please let it rip, dude.
Yeah. So part of me, like, I do think they stay together. I would be interested in a film where like the dedication is switched, right? Where Doug maintains like his like
he's diving in.
Yeah. Whereas she, like, as now like a gold medalist, right, kind of falls into maybe bad habits, right? Or like kind of has like a sort of downfall, and he has to like bring her up and get ready for the 94 Olympics. Or I could see that kind of a Ghostbusters 2 thing where he actually does go to the Ice Capades and has to like bring his like credibility back. But I would honestly, my answer really is I wouldn't mind a gritty reboot that centers on the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan issues, and Doug and she are like actually involved, right, in like trying to save U.S. figure skating.
Mm.
But I Tanya did that too well. So yeah.
Well, maybe we could just get Sebastian Stan in here somewhere, like as whatever. But like,
that's hilarious.
I'm a big fan of Stan anyway. Going all the way back to Hot Tub Time Machine. But here's my thought. And there's some films like we watch Pretty Woman. There's no way they stay together. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. You can't overcome. They don't.
I totally agree.
They're done in a few months, in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. We did Notting Hill, we talked about the idea when we did the Notting Hill podcast of like, where do you want the sequel to take place? And it's like, I don't want to see a sequel where where we find out they didn't make it, right? Because that just breaks my heart. Mm-hmm. And I want to believe in Doug and Kate, right? And I think that they actually do. I think that this works so well. They got some class stuff to come up because I think he's going to elevate. He's going to climb up to her level as far as class and stature and stuff like that. I think she goes into announcing. He starts coaching hockey at UConn or something like that. Maybe he coaches the women's hockey team or some jazz. Like maybe he stays this world. I don't quite know, but they definitely have kids who go into the combined world, right? I would want to see like a sequel, but only with these two, because it's like, I can't, like, I appreciate the obviously affection for the stories and stuff like that. There's all this direct to video stuff on these. I think there's 3 of them. But it's also the thing of like, whereas I don't want to see Doug and Kate not on screen together, or I don't want to see Doug and Kate like broken up. I also don't want to not see. I don't want to see James Garner's version of Tommy Lee Jones's version of which one was he? Was he Gus McRae? Like in Lonesome Dove, and I love James Garner, but like I want to see the original actor, right?
Yeah.
In the role. And stuff, that's long story. They're together. I will not hear of any world across the multiverse of Cutting Edge. They're together regardless. I think she goes into television. I think she becomes an announcer and is like, and we see her on television every 4 years. Is what I think happens. Where does this film sit on we look at the 1990s, and this is where I'm going to kind of bring this down. Look at the 1990s was a golden age of sports film.
Yes.
Dart, you brought up earlier another incredibly quotable film, White Man Can't Jump, right? Which is same year, 92. But let's talk about another film that's incredibly quotable. The Sandlot comes out in 93. Okay. I'm not a fan of Rudy, but that comes out in 93 as well. League of Their Own in 92.
What historian doesn't have issues with Rudy?
Well, I'm from Kentucky. I don't want to acknowledge anything in Indiana, period. Okay. Mighty Ducks, Minnesota is having some time in 92. Tin Cup, criminally underrated.
I gotta tell you,
96.
I gotta tell you, I don't love the Mighty Ducks, but you know what I do love?
What's that?
Little Giants.
Okay, that's coming. So Little Giants, 1994. What else we got? Here's one for you. He Got Game.
He Got Game is a great film, despite the fact Ray Allen is god awful in it.
He's bad, but you know who's Rosario Dawson's in that film.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, she blows the doors off that thing, right? Varsity Blues, 99. What else we got? Any Given Sunday is 99. I mean,
Any Given Sunday is extremely underrated because it does so many things in terms of this like grit and getting to the soul of the issues with the league, in terms of who's a star player, what does it mean to be a veteran? You're at the end of your career, you're injured, you just want to get this bonus money and clock out, versus this is what I stand for. I'm a leader, I'm respected in the locker room, and I'm just trying to get there. And I realized that, I'm putting my body on the line. I'm trying to get these sponsorships. I was nobody 6 months ago, and now I'm on the cover of the magazine, and I'm the guy, selling the tickets. So I'm going to get what I can get, because you don't care about me. You didn't care about me when I was sitting on the bench. There's so much going on with any given Sunday, and the Inches speech,
Oh,
the Inches speech. Oh my God, it's one of the best things ever in a sports film.
can I give you two films that predicted the future? Two sports films that predicted the future in the 1990s.
Mm.
Days of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Called the whole team. Remember, in
Mhm.
1990, there wasn't like teams in NASCAR,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
right? They called that. Even more. You ready? 1994, Blue Chips. Blue Chips
yeah.
calls.
Absolutely.
And that's a film
absolutely.
I'm trying to get Rex Chapman on. I'm trying to play my Kentucky thing with Rex Chapman because if you read Rex's memoir, like it's a fascinating study in like race, relationships, getting paid.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
and obviously Rex had some real challenges, and I think it's a real brave book that he wrote
Yeah.
and stuff. But I'm trying to get him on there because I want to have him talk about Blue Chips because I think Blue Chips, man, was like, and I hate how much ass kissing they do to Indiana University and Bobby
Yeah.
Knight. I can't stand Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, Calbert Cheney, that whole squad being in that movie, my eyes just rolled to the back of my head watching it.
Patino's in that film.
Yes.
We see him early
My
on.
God.
All right, so here's my last question, though. Where does this film... Think about all these movies that come out.
Mhm.
Where does The Cutting Edge sit in the pantheon of 90s sports films?
I think it's in the upper 20% guaranteed, because if you think about ESPN2, which revolutionized the way sports were marketed
Absolutely.
and sold, you can't tell me that there wasn't anyone who started working with ESPN from ESPN2 on who weren't involved in the marketing, the way the way things were sold, what they picked to play at night that was not inspired by The Cutting Edge, or especially like the cinematography, because the way they cut the skating sequences and the montages, you can't tell me, like, every sports film afterwards took cues from it.
Mm-hmm.
You watch sports films before it, and you watch sports films after it. It's very clear. Oh, these people love The Cutting Edge.
Is The Cutting Edge
And
the Saving Private Ryan of sports movies, Dart?
I don't think it's the Saving Private Ryan of sports movies. I think it might be what's a movie that every screenwriter from a certain era generation watched? Like, think about Doug Liman's Go, right?
Oh, I love that
You know,
movie.
if you were of a certain generation that came up with independent film of that era, you saw Go, you saw Swingers. It's like that, or maybe for a generation previous to that, Slacker, or the black and white one, Dana Salsa Shark, the one where they work in the movie theater, the video,
Clerks.
Yeah.
Clerks. Like, it's that kind of, we know you saw it.
Yeah.
It's very clear from your work you saw this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't deny you saw it. Everybody can quote this movie. Everybody cites this movie. We all saw it. So I think it's that.
Paul, what about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, like of those sports films, I think it's definitely up there. Top 15, top 20%. I do think they're better. I need to rewatch a few of those.
I mean, I threw some stuff at you. We didn't even talk about
Because
Major League.
there's some movies that a lot of people saw that were terrible.
Yeah.
The Air Up There was not a good basketball film.
No.
It's not a great sports film.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people saw that.
Yeah.
And like they could quote it, but it's not a rewatchable film like some of the other ones are. And I mean, as much as I loved Above the Rim, there are sequences in there where a guy throws a pass to himself and dunks it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he throws a full court pass to himself and catches it.
Yeah. I like the idea of like what's rewatchable. Because I would say like things like League of Their Own, I will always watch if it's on cable or whatever. Like that is immensely rewatchable for me. This is rewatchable.
Yes.
Like what's the?
You're gonna get me sued by Bill Simmons now.
What's the one where the kid manages the twins? Is that Little Big League or is that because they're?
I think that's Little Big League.
Little Big League, like that one, like. It's not a great movie, but like the baseball sequences are fantastic because they have.
I will tell you that is. What's another one? Pitchers got a big butt. Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Rookie of the Year is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, these kind of occupy space of like kind of like lighthearted
mhm.
kind of thing
Yes.
versus like you know we were talking about a little bit.
Well, again, being a historian kind of ruins some sports films because one sports film that if I wasn't a historian, I could just turn my brain off, I could enjoy it, is Moneyball.
Yeah.
Sure.
But being a historian, it ruins Moneyball for
Mhm.
you because you're like, wait a minute, they had the best pitching, some of the best pitching in the game. That's not what he did. He didn't do that. That manager wasn't that
No,
terrible.
what
Yeah.
Moneyball does is give you Brad Pitt's best acting performance ever.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't require Brad Pitt to talk a lot. And that's Brad Pitt's best stuff. And this isn't a disservice to Brad Pitt. I actually think he's one of the most important filmmakers. You look at what he's done with like Plan B Productions.
Mhm.
He picks winners, man.
Yeah.
And stuff. But like he gets to do with this a lot. You know?
He gets on base.
Yeah. It's like that's what losing sounds like.
Yeah.
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 The trade call that he does with Jonah Hill, right? I think is fantastic acting on both their parts. But you're right, Dark. Like when you look at the history of it, you're like, wow, it falls apart. You know.
No, but there's rich teams, there's poor teams, then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's
the Red Sox took our heart. Yeah, like
it's good. Like people are like, "Are you about to cover every single sports film in history?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, we haven't till dawn." That said, guys, there are so many other movies I want to have you guys both back on to talk about. I was really looking forward to talking to you both about this film. I had a blast talking to you guys about this tonight. Like I went back. I could just always watch this movie.
Think about the stuff we didn't talk about.
Go for it.
How the skaters that they're afraid of ended up coming in like ninth in the Olympics because they were Canadian. The skaters everybody's afraid of.
We didn't talk about like is that the one where they're doing the Lederhosen like routine and she falls on her butt and that's
that was the qualifier.
That was at Nationals.
Yeah,
and we're supposed to get upset
because
because we know that Kate and Doug are rocking out, and they're like, "Oh, the judges just didn't see it. Looks like it's gonna." And we're like, "Oh no!" And then she thankfully falls. You know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are in. So that's that's what like. It's everything's. It's not a question of if they're going to like win. It's how soon, like when are the stars going to align with them winning and falling in love? Right.
Them landing the Pamchenko twist after those sequences where he's spinning her around and he's hitting her head.
Oh, and those are painful to watch.
Yeah.
And she skids on the ice and she slides and she can't get back up. And you see that pained expression on her face. Also, a great sequence that people don't talk about nearly enough.
This movie's perfect. I'm sorry. It's a perfect film. It's like this movie does everything it sets out to do. Like I think there's a whole series. Like I think Predator is a perfect film. It is the perfect action sci-fi movie ever. Like,
so, if you want to talk about a perfect film, right?
Go on.
No wasted motion, nothing.
What do we got?
It was originally called 72 Hours, but we call it Taken.
Oh.
Minimal distractions. We get straight to the point. There's the scene where he goes to his daughter's birthday party. He brings the karaoke machine. He doesn't say 3 words to the man who's married to his ex-wife, but we already know
the world building is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And take it, and like after she gets taken, and he calls like Leland Orser, right? Yeah. And he's like, "These guys are from the Baltic, and this is why we can tell, and we know exactly what town." Like he's been running with heavy, but you're at, like, I love it when filmmakers don't hit us over the head with stuff where Liam Neeson doesn't go, "Hey, remember that time when we were in the Baltic?" And he's like, it just. I got another perfect film for you. Ready? Man on Fire.
Ooh. The Denzel Washington
version. I have not seen the Scott Glenn version, although I would like to.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. All right.
But Creasy Bear, come on. I mean, Denzel does a really good alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say what's hilarious is that film, him working with her, they became lifelong friends. She became friends with his daughter. And their families have been friends since they did that.
Isn't she one of the Equalizer films now?
Yes.
Like it's like she's a full-on like adult now. and
Her and her sister. Yeah.
yeah, that's Elle Fanning, I think, right? Is the one.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like I love seeing that, right? Because I had Ed Zwick on the pod, right, and he was like talking about his relationship, and he writes about this in the book that he wrote, right? His relationship with Denzel, and you get the sense that it's not easy to earn that man's trust. So many people want a piece of Denzel Washington's
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
life.
his name is Denzel.
Denzel.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paul, you have a sneaky perfect film.
Man, that's hard. I don't know. Like sometimes My Cousin Vinny is up there for me. Like it's near perfect. There are a couple scenes I would cut that haven't aged well, but like I love the pacing. I love the world building. I love the acting. There was another one that I was like, oh, and I can't remember what it was.
Do you know what film I'm dying to do on this? And I wrote it as we're talking, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Right here. Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf?
I want to do Teen Wolf. Okay. I love Teen Wolf. Susan Orsetti, Boof, full on, I'm in love. I'm 8 years old.
Really quickly.
Go on.
I had a campaign. I'm going to say this because it's never going to happen, and I'll just put it out in the universe. I was trying to sell Adidas. I'm doing a campaign for Teen Wolf's 40th anniversary with Anthony Edwards. I wanted to be Teen Wolf versus Teen Wolf. And Adidas outfitted Teen Wolf in 85. And what they've never done, which I've been trying to get them to do since 2015, is retro the Knights
Give me that jersey.
and the Beavers uniforms, the jerseys.
Give me the jersey.
Make like high school championship jerseys, all that stuff. The Letterman's jackets for a capsule. And I wanted to do a full campaign with Anthony versus Teen Wolf, but I wanted to make it him now, like a kid from Beavertown High turns into a wolf now, and like everybody's talking about him. He's ranked #1, and like Anthony Edwards like to bust his ass. It's like he's talking trash to him in the media. He's like, I'll take him one-on-one. So it's like this whole campaign happening all year long. Teen Wolf versus Teen Wolf. He has a 56-inch vertical. Anthony Edwards, I don't need a 56-inch vertical. I wasn't 5'3" to start with. So like that. So I really would love
Anthony Edwards say lycanthrope.
Yes, I like him. Win in the end. The win.
Oh my God. Okay,
montage.
This is what I would get to. If you take Rambo or you take Rocky and you set Rocky aside as its own thing, I think Win in the End, this is my hot take, is the single best non-Rocky sports montage ever made. The song is perfect. If you watch it, they have some of the same shots played over in the same. I don't care. I don't care.
Shots missed in ways they don't make sense. The same shot going in ways that don't make sense. The rebounds.
Oh, shoot it, fat boy! Oh my God, everything. Yes. Paul, do you know this film? Are you in love with Teen Wolf like we are?
I have not seen Teen Wolf in like forever, but I recently watched a video called 60-second breakdown. There's a kind of tongue in cheek. Like when he appears and like drops 34 points in the basketball game. They're talking about like the poor defense and like, yeah, it's great. But I am overdue for a rewatch for sure. I would say my other
Michael J. Fox's layups.
Yeah,
they hit the back iron.
They're
and then
so
go
bad.
In.
Yeah.
Least athletic guy, but some of the great lines like, "How can you keep going?" He's like, "How much of this can you keep doing?" He's like, "As much as you can dish out, Nick." He's like,
yeah. I'm going to shoot more free throws jumping.
Right? Are you allowed to shoot a jump free throw? It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm 8 years old. I'm thinking that all high school parties end up like in a closet with Boof. And I'm like, or the Jello, right, with Chubby. Like, God damn it, boys! I miss the '80s. I feel like I am 10 years too young for my life. I should we get into this when I talk about the film's singles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I should have been Steve, who is exactly born 10 years old before I was. Like, I'm the tail end of X, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
So there's.
the hilarious thing for me, being a Gen Xer born in '75, is I would watch these Hughes films, and these other films.
Oh yeah.
And black kids would watch them like, they were National Geographic films because like, is this how white
Look
folks
at the
live?
white people, right?
Yeah,
Why are
is
they
this how
so
white
fucked
folks
up?
live? Like, oh my God, the jocks and the athletes and the cheerleaders is like, because in a black high school, you could be a basketball player, you could be a cheerleader, and you could still be way cooler than all of them just being a regular dude, you know? So it was really weird that, there's like, we're the jocks on this side and the nerds on this side. And
Hmm.
it was like, the nerd might be the dude to get you in the club because he might be the DJ. Like, who cares?
Like
So it was really weird to watch it from that
where are
lens.
the black people in St. Elmo's Fire? It's set in DC, right?
Oh, don't get me started on that one. We've had that conversation. That's a hilarious conversation. Like, are they the only white folks that found each other in DC in that one place?
Hmm.
Chocolate City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, guys, we could be here all night. Like I am so I'm like scribbling down. It's like Dart likes this, Paul likes this.
Yes.
Dart will
Yes.
say okay to this if I email him, so
Mhm.
forth. It's a danger. All right, I'm gonna call this one tonight. This has been amazing. I'm so fired. Like I shit you not. Like the second I hit record, we're gonna start playing on the next one because I want you both back on the pod. This was so much fun, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Having us. Yeah.
And that's a wrap here at Reckoning with Jason Herbert. Thank you so very much to our guests, Dart and Paul, for showing up and being here tonight, talking about this. God, this pod was awesome tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our producer, Fletcher Powell, for making this show run. And thank you, as always, to our doubles partner, you guys, for being here and being part of this community. Thank you so very much. We have so many podcasts coming your way so very shortly. So if you like the show, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend. Tell an enemy. I don't care. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll catch you later. Ciao for now. Bye.